Uma pergunta. Uma pergunta antes da gente começar. Você vai acionar alguma pesquisa de inicial ou no final?
Vamos fazer a pesquisa sim.
No final, né?
Isso, no final a gente faz,
Ah, perfeito, perfeito.
tá?
Eu acabei não te mandando a pesquisa que eu normalmente faço no
Não
início
tem
para identificar
problema.
o perfil dos participantes, mas está tranquilo. Sim, a ideia é fazer uma apresentação do apresentador, que na verdade está sendo feita, está sendo apresentada nessa tela. Então eu vou ler isso em inglês, se possível, e aí a gente começa a apresentação. Pode ser? Eu acho que sim.
Não sei nem para quem você perguntou, mas pode.
É porque eu estava conversando com você, perdão.
Tá ótimo,
Então
pode.
vamos lá. Então vamos começar. Deixa eu carregar aqui só o texto, que eu vou ler o texto. Só um instante. Acho que a gente já está num horário bom. Bem-vindos mais uma vez, todos. Sejam bem-vindos a essa sessão de apresentação de inteligência artificial. A gente tem um convidado especialista nessa área. Eu vou fazer a apresentação desse convidado. Meu nome é Luiz. Eu queria agradecer o apoio inicialmente do convidado, do Marius Dornenbaum. Eu já vou falar um pouquinho sobre ele e queria agradecer a Cristiane Fiorin pelo apoio na organização do evento, a Mariela no apoio na organização, na concepção do evento e agradecer a equipe de produto que fica nos Estados Unidos. A gente vai fazer uma referência a um produto que está disponível para todos no Brasil, principalmente, que se chama Compendix. Então, é oferecido através de uma plataforma chamada Engineering Village. A gente vai fazer a apresentação. A apresentação ela tem como objetivo apresentar a inteligência artificial, como que ela pode apoiar no processo de pesquisa, a pesquisa científica, e essa é uma das plataformas que faz uso de inteligência artificial. Mas antes, naturalmente, a gente vai ver o contexto da inteligência artificial, que vai ser apresentado pelo nosso apresentador no dia de hoje. Muito obrigado pela participação de todos. Eu espero que seja de interesse de vocês, de apoio de vocês. Sim, a sessão vai ser gravada. Sim, a sessão, se vocês tiverem interesse, vai ser oferecido um certificado de participação. E para qualquer questão que vocês tenham, eu mais adiante vou colocar os nossos e-mails de contato no chat, para que vocês esclareçam qualquer questão pendente que vocês tenham. E para perguntas e respostas, repetindo aquilo que a Cristiane já tinha falado, eu vou agradecer o uso da ferramenta chat para comentários gerais, e no final a gente vai ter uma sessão de um momento para perguntas e respostas. E aí, para essas perguntas e respostas, eu vou pedir para que vocês usem a opção de Questions and Answers. Questions and Answers é um botãozinho que deve estar embaixo aí para vocês. Lembrando que essa sessão vai ser, tem um intérprete. Obrigado pelo intérprete, obrigado pelo Ricardo pela participação no dia de hoje. Vocês embaixo vão encontrar na ferramenta o botão de interpretation, e vocês vão poder clicar nesse botão e escolher o idioma, porque o nosso speaker, o nosso apresentador no dia de hoje, ele vai fazer a apresentação em inglês. Então, para que todos entendam em português, caso tenha interesse, a interpretação vai ser feita pelo Ricardo. Vamos dar início, então. Bom dia mais uma vez. So we should now begin the session. Dr. Donnenbaugh, many thanks to all. Many thanks for your being available for us to support us in how to position artificial intelligence in the region. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to read your curriculum just to introduce you, and then you will be able to proceed with your presentation. Thank you so much. Marius Donnenbaugh PhD, is a trained linguistic turned data scientist with over 25 years of experience in information retrieval, text analytics, and all varieties of natural language processing. At Elsevier, he holds the position of distinguished engineer, which affords him the privilege of working alongside several teams, integrating cutting-edge artificial intelligence technologies into Elsevier's applications. The combination of Elsevier's content and databases with extraction of summarization technologies continues to amaze him daily. Marius has built several artificial intelligence applications applying all forms of machine learning where applicable, while leading research and development and data science teams in industry. He has also authored a number of publications and patents. He is a resident of the Netherlands currently, but has spent considerable time in other parts of the world. He has a family, and his current hobby project is the restoration of a house in the woods. So thank you so much, Dr. Donnenbaugh, for joining us today. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Luis. And thank you also for the opportunity to talk to you today. I'm honored to do so. As you can see, and I hope this doesn't give too much trouble, you can the sunlight comes in horizontally through in this house. It's November here, and I'm living on the northern hemisphere, so that's what it looks like. That you have horizontal sunlight at this time of year. I hope it doesn't bother anyone. Today's topic is artificial intelligence, a field that I'm immersed in, and I really enjoy working in. And it is, as you know, a very hot topic these days. Artificial intelligence is everywhere. And now let's talk a little bit about how we apply artificial intelligence in information solutions, in engineering, and what we can see of the trends in artificial intelligence in Latin America. I will be a little bit fuzzy about Latin America or South America and switching from one and the other. Sometimes I hope you will forgive me that in some analyses I did not include the Middle American countries such as Mexico, and some analyses I did. So it goes back and forth, but I hope the storyline does not suffer from that. Before I talk about the applications of artificial intelligence in engineering, and specifically in Latin America, I will spend some time with you to discuss what artificial intelligence is, in my mind, how it has evolved as a field, and why it is that artificial intelligence is so big now, and it has suffered from setbacks so much in the past. So what we see now these days is an immense revolution, if you like, in technology. AI just ruling the world. There's a famous quote by Mark Andreessen that software eats the world. Well, you might say today, artificial intelligence eats the world. So without further ado, because I have limited time, let me introduce what in my mind artificial intelligence is. And I always like to think that artificial intelligence is using machines to do cognitive tasks, tasks that require the operation of a brain, things we typically associate with humans. And I think it's important to think of it that way, that it's really about cognitive tasks. So operations that that are a process or an algorithm, or embodied in another form based on machine learning. And machine learning is, in that sense, just one of the forms of artificial intelligence. It's not that only human activities require a brain. we think of artificial intelligence, the super robot that will rule the world, as some new Einstein. It's not just that. Actually, elephants have bigger brains than humans, and they need that brain because they have a large body that they need to operate. So it's not just quantum physics that needs a brain. It's also operating a big machine, such as an elephant, that needs a brain. And there are different algorithms that correspond to these cognitive tasks. And these cognitive tasks is what AI is about. There are two types of AI generally, if you survey the literature. There is narrow artificial intelligence, which sees to specific tasks. So a chess computer is a form of narrow artificial intelligence. It does a specific task. And there is also the idea of general artificial intelligence, human general intelligence, where there is a non-existing computer that beats humans in every way with regards to their mental capacity. Now, that last thing is, I think, a pipe dream. I do not believe that this is a very meaningful thing to pursue, although I love to talk about it. It's not what we see around us these days. What we see around us these days are systems that perform specific tasks, narrow AI, and they are much better at those tasks than humans can ever hope to be. We build machines that read 1 million documents in an hour. That's not something humans can do. They pick up certain information from those documents. It's a very narrow task, and they're better at it than humans. That's the type of artificial intelligence I will be concerned with today. Artificial intelligence, I said that, is hot, like super hot. The AI research grows faster than research overall. There are, over the last 5 years, more than 300,000 publications that have been labeled by Elsevier as artificial intelligence related. Now, that is not so significant without context. Nature, the journal, has computed that global scientific output doubles every 9 years. So that gives you the context. AI research grows double as fast. It doubles every 4 years now. So that's really exponential growth in artificial intelligence. And I believe that this is actually not even the whole picture. I believe that it actually grows faster because this is research about AI. But if you look at the way research nowadays is conducted, I believe that artificial intelligence is everywhere and that people use AI in research. So not just AI as a field of research, but particularly AI as a method of research is everywhere. If we try to break down the field of artificial intelligence, we can see the research field in particular, that breaks down into several parts. There is a very nice report, an artificial intelligence report put out last year by Elsevier. You can download it from free for the from the Elsevier website. It breaks this field down and has been done. The report has been created using artificial intelligence. Reading, machine reading, lots of documents and extracting the subjects these documents talk about and see where the patterns are in those documents. It's a very nice report. I recommend you read it if you want to understand the field of artificial intelligence research. Now let's take a look at the field of artificial intelligence in South America in this one. You can do that, and this is an image of the number of publications over the last year in South America. You can do that using SciVal. SciVal is a tool also put out the Elsevier, and I always go there if I want to know something about a field of research. It's easy to just click together a view on what's actually happening. And if you look at this image here, you see right away what's happening. It's a big field. Brazil, being the biggest country on the South American continent, has the biggest output, but there are other strong players in the field. Let's drill down a little deeper and look at how these things trend. I showed you the graph of increasing research. Well, this is what you see for South and Latin America as well. And these are the top 3 countries. And you see, this is good. This is an upward trend. We're following the world's lead, or leading the world's trend. I don't know. But if you're enthusiastic about this and you feel good about yourself, I have to break the news that actually other countries are growing faster. So the United States, and this is not unexpected, I think, grows faster, has more output, grows faster. So if you think that is fast, then here is China. China as a country has given itself a very specific agenda in 2017, basically saying we want to be the absolute top dog in artificial intelligence research by 2030. And as you can see, they are definitely achieving that target. They are not only producing more research output per year, per any type of measure, but they're also growing way faster. So this is very significant, and I would say that it is sort of an arms race. So everybody tries to be the best, and that's fine. So you have to find your niche and to navigate the world, the research world, to either keep up or make your own unique contribution. And I think that is something that is quite possible also, or in particular, for Latin America. So do not be discouraged. There are specific fields, I believe, that Latin America can contribute to specifically, and also that there are strong universities and institutions that really have the clout to produce good research. And if you look at the top authors, they are nicely distributed over several countries, mostly in Brazil, of course, as you can see on this list. The person in the University of Sydney, interestingly, is found by looking at Latin American research output. And that can be easily explained because Jose Maria Merigo, he actually comes from South America. So it's someone putting up a good show currently on another continent. Strongest institutions, we looked at the strongest authors first. Strongest institutions show a similar picture. Brazil very much leading the way by sheer numbers. And of course, also Argentina and Chile are in the list. So those are the places, if you want to know where to go to pursue a line of research, tools like this, tools like Cyber will tell you, these are the strongholds, these are the strong institutions. I looked up, of course, the researchers on Cyval, and specifically, this one actually I looked up on Engineering Village. I think it was already mentioned, this product by Luis, where you can drill down into specific abstracts to see what these authors are about, what they do, and then you see immediately how AI, artificial intelligence, is applied to specific problems. And I really liked this article by this top researcher, André Carlos Pence de Leon Ferreira de Carvalho, in Brazil. He's apparently the principal investigator on this one. It's about classifying wood for its quality, and I think it's excellent. It just, if you are in a country that does a lot of logging, then yes, this is how you apply artificial intelligence. And this tells you the story that there is no field that is not touched by artificial intelligence, and it is very meaningful to do research on specific applications of artificial intelligence. This is a highly cited and impactful article, and it shows you where the strong output of research is. There are other examples of artificial intelligence applications in Latin and South America. Some of them I thought were really interesting when I looked and searched for specific strong points. There's a really nice article on the ACM, Association for Computing Machinery, about the history of image analysis in Argentina. There are several institutions that together form a very strong group of researchers classifying images of all sorts of nature and applying artificial intelligence to do so. Another very nice startup, so this is a business in Argentina, is Checado, that uses automated voice to text to look for the things people say in videos, to do fact-checking on them and to use those texts for fact-checking. A very nice application, a very charming, if you like, application, innovative of artificial intelligence. Innovative is also this company, the Not company, founded in Chile, aiming to replace meat-based foods by plant-based foods. And they have employed artificial intelligence algorithms to look for recipes and to see which components in those recipes can be replaced by plant-based components. A very nice and a specific application of artificial intelligence that is very original and innovative. Another thing I really want to call out, because of my own background in linguistics and information retrieval, in this field of linguistics and information retrieval, there is a great respect for the Yahoo labs that had a strong presence in Santiago de Chile, previously by Ricardo Beza Yates and his student, who is still a top author in the field of information retrieval, not just in South America, but really worldwide. And the Yahoo Labs is smaller now than it used to be, so this is true for the company as well. But this was a very significant, and still is, I believe, research group in information retrieval. So there are really strong institutions and strong history in these fields. If you want to drill down for yourself, you can just enter this Engineering Village tool or other Elsevier tools that will allow you to navigate the field, to drill down through the controlled vocabulary and look for the information that you need. Let me, in the interest of time, skip this report that was done on North America and rather stay focused on Latin America. This is a report done by the, I believe, MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the United States, where they have basically reviewed the state of artificial intelligence in Latin America. And they, of course, highlight that artificial intelligence makes inroads in Latin America, as it does everywhere else in the world. But they see that the focus of the artificial intelligence applications is in marketing, sales, logistics, and supply chain, and not so much in technology development, automation, which is both good, specific, and perhaps also a direction to pursue. And of course, policy continuity, political transparency, and collaboration are very important factors to make AI successful. But I think that is something we all know and applies to every field that we navigate into. One thing I find personally very important is that this survey that was done always brings out that ethical considerations in the application of artificial intelligence are so super important. You always have to design systems in a way that nobody gets harmed. And I think we all know examples of applications of artificial intelligence that actually harm people. So algorithms recommending content that's actually not good content. Or there was a recent example, I believe, in Argentina where someone was apprehended mistakenly because the systems indicated that he would be a suspect in a burglar case or something like that. So there's always the consideration that you apply your systems in an ethical way. So now let's talk about artificial intelligence a bit more. I think I have another 10 or 15 minutes and see how we can navigate the field, understand why it's turning so big, and then with the knowledge that we acquire by doing so, by investigating, how we can apply it. So I always think that it is helpful to understand artificial intelligence as a field by breaking it down into how artificial intelligence works. What we see now, and that is what driving, one of the drivers behind the growth, is the emergence of great new technologies. So we had machine learning technologies that are now emerging and are becoming more powerful. So the availability of these technologies allow us to perform other tasks, other functions. We used to rely on knowledge engineering, expert systems. They already existed in the 80s, last century. But now we have neural networks, and they really are very powerful and allow us to do perform other functions better, at better quality. These functions compose applications. If I want to make a self-driving vehicle, I need computer vision, I need signal processing, systems control, all of these things. And these can be driven by the technologies. And that goes, you can make any combination of these three items, but you're looking, of course, for the application. And if you have an application, you need to think about what functions you need to compose that application. And then there will be technologies to support that. And I think it is helpful to think about artificial intelligence this way. So you can start from the end, start with the application and look what technologies, what functions you need and what technologies support that function. And this is also encoded in the way the database, the Engineering Village database, is put together. It has technologies as an entry point, as keywords, and those technologies are sometimes very close to even mathematical methods. And then you can also search for applications, and so you can cross-sect, intersect your search so you get precisely the type of artificial intelligence application that you need. It's also interesting to break down the field of artificial intelligence into technologies, functions, and applications, because we see throughout that technologies are shared between applications, between very different functions even. So this is a graph that I like to present a lot because it shows you that there the emergence of a specific technology. PyTorch was put out by Facebook. It's a deep learning library, neural networks. You may have heard about deep learning neural networks. PyTorch was put out by Facebook. TensorFlow was put out by Google, the big companies. Now, TensorFlow was there before PyTorch, but PyTorch was found to be more easy to use. Now, what we see here are the trends of appearance of those technologies in conference papers. So we see the computer vision conference, the red line, and the ACL is the Natural Language Processing Conference. And we see that at the same time, in two entirely different fields of science, the PyTorch technology gets picked up. It follows the exact same trend because these technologies support different functions. So if you were to consider a specific technology for a specific function, you can probably steal or borrow that technology from another field altogether. If something has been developed for computer vision in field A, it may also work very well for another application in field B. And that brings us by yet another characteristic of artificial intelligence, and that is that it's highly interdisciplinary. Many fields share the same technology and have similar research interests. That is what this picture tells you. Now, I dropped the word neural networks, and I am sort of assuming that you know that these things exist, maybe by the name of deep learning. I will not go into the inner workings of these networks because it would take too much time, and it's not the point. But I think we sort of should know about that to train these networks, those machine learning engines, a lot of resources are required. Those networks have like billions of parameters that can have a certain value and need to be trained. Some networks take forever to train, or it takes as much as a jumbo jet plane to fly from New York to San Francisco. That's how much it takes to train a single language model. This value, I'm not making it up, it has been computed. That's how much electricity it just consumes. So making those models, developing those models is not for everyone. And we see that these things now are developed by Google and Facebook, and this may not be the interest of a small research institution trying to solve a small problem. The good thing, though, the good news is that you can actually take those models that are out there and reuse them for your application, doing fine-tuning. And that is what I see in my work and everywhere around the world. That is what a lot of people do, and they can capitalize on those models. And that's for a specific reason why and how you can capitalize on those models that big tech companies have put out. The other consolation is that bigger models are not always better. And again, time is too short to detail that. But there are small models that perform equally well or sometimes better than big models. And also big models that represent a lot of firepower do not always help us understand the field. It's not like a precision instrument. It can be a very blunt instrument, which leaves a lot of room for fundamental research in artificial intelligence to understand problems better. So I would not worry if I were a small institution. There are several ways we can still contribute in a very meaningful and impactful way. Okay, I'm going to take you to the STM Tech Trends, the science, technology, and medicine technology trends. I'm aware that I think only have like 5 or 10 more minutes, so I have to be economical with my time. Elsevier is my employer. We publish a lot of research, and I think there is a lot of awareness in the publishing field that it's not just putting out papers that makes our work meaningful. Quite the contrary, it is much more so that we need to help you or readers or researchers in any formal way finding the exact right information, the information that you need. And that is actually sometimes getting harder by the increased availability of information. You need to have reliable information. You need to have the right information that is suitable for your specific problem, if it is there. And also, if it's not there, you also want to know, have a good insight. And all of these things are not always available on Google. And all of these things, I also think, if you look at this map of trends, a lot of these things also rely on artificial intelligence. If we want to trust our content, we need to have a very good filtering mechanism for publications. We need to have data points that are supported by good literature. If we need to find the right information, we need to have algorithms that can be used to search very precisely. Maybe question answering systems, maybe text summarization systems, such that we can go through multiple articles in a faster way. And I have been a part of several projects for Elsevier last year that do exactly those things, that enhance research, that allow for text summarization. So that is our expectation for the publishing world. Artificial intelligence will really have a very important role in developing those information solutions. We really expect in 2020 that if I have searched for something, I will get recommendations related to that. I will maybe push notifications, but also I expect solutions to be able to recommend me authors that are related to the search I did, or institutions, or reviewers for my article. All these solutions are available or under development and rely on artificial intelligence. The same goes for search. We expect, if we search nowadays for Einstein, we expect to see his picture, and we also expect that Google knows that Niels Bohr is a related researcher. Analytics, I mentioned SciVal already as my favorite tool. It's heavily reliant on artificial intelligence techniques to classify research, to see the trends in research, how research evolves. All of these things require that type of artificial intelligence. And that type of artificial intelligence for Elsevier is, for the largest part, the processing of natural language articles. There are other types. There are recommendations based on algorithmic vector-based operations. But first and foremost, we need to understand the texts that are submitted in our systems, the texts that are published by other publishers, in order to present them to the researchers who consume the information in a way that is meaningful and structured. Natural language processing, this is a topic where I can really spend hours or days talking, because that is exactly my field, is really about understanding language to the point that it can be presented to people in an easy way, presented in a meaningful way. To do that, we have to first accept that language, as we humans speak it, is unstructured information to computers. For us, language is the primary means of communication, and it serves us very well. For computers, it doesn't. And what computers want is structured information. So for me, the ball game of natural language processing is about turning unstructured information into structured information. There are other parts of natural language processing which, for example, do the opposite. So automated reports turn tabular data into text. There are also those solutions. That is natural language generation. I will not talk about those things, however interesting they are. Now I have a couple of slides about the current state of natural language processing. And I will summarize these slides because time is too short for that. But the important point of this slide in this narrative is that there was a revolution in image processing about 10 years ago, where researchers, Jeff Hinton in Canada, in particular, the group in Ontario, where researchers have been extremely successful in training large neural network models on images by the availability of an enormous amount of data. And that is one thing, to train those things. But the real breakthrough was that the models that were trained on so many images could be reused, could be used over and over again. So the simple version of this story is that there are neural networks that are very large that can, for example, distinguish a dog picture from a cat picture. But the great thing about those models is they can be reused for other applications, because these models embody a certain analysis of pictures that can be reused for other applications. This is called unsupervised training. And unsupervised training means I can just give an enormous amount of data and the machine will learn meaningful patterns and translate these into simple representations that I can reuse for other purposes, that I can use as input for other machine learning algorithms. And this has happened for image recognition 10 years ago. And now it's also happening in natural language processing, which allows us to train models on large volumes of text without supervision. We have enough text. We have an enormous amount of text in the world. It's called the internet. And to just learn the patterns from these texts creates powerful models that can be reused for other applications. These models are called language models, and they have a very simple task. They predict the next word. But in order to do so, they embody a deep understanding of language in a computer model. And it is this model, this principle of unsupervised models that has allowed us now in the last couple of years, and I'm really talking very recently, from 2017 onwards, to beat all the challenges that we have had in the past in natural language processing. Challenges like general language understanding, question answering, or challenges in machine translation. That's where we really have made a huge process. And it also has led, after 2 or 3 years, beating every benchmark, to a redefinition of the field of language processing. We have solved many different problems, and we just incrementally improved performance of systems. But it also begs the question, how do we then apply natural language processing? How do we make it more efficient, stable, generalizable, interpretable? And what does it actually mean to have a machine understand text? And I always think it comes with the right application. If we build a search application such as Engineering Village based on deep learning, that is an achievement and an application of language understanding that actually has an impact. So that is my view on that discussion. I put this slide in just to reiterate the message that there are very strong research groups in Latin America. For example, in Santiago de Chile, these two authors are the top authors in information retrieval according to Engineering Village. Ricardo Bezier is the master, he's the senior, and Gonzalo Navarro is his student, and he's now a professor in the same university. I thought it was very interesting, a random fact. Now, after this little diversion, let me wrap it up. We have now integrated in Engineering Village a deep learning model that will go live next year to extract concepts, to know what a document is about. We use artificial intelligence extensively to populate the search indexes that people can access and address in using this application. So that is where we are in a very practical way with artificial intelligence in science, technology, and medicine publication. This is the summary of this presentation, where that says Mexico, it has to read Latin America. And this is, I will wrap it up here. I will leave it here and open up for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. What a great presentation. And the subject is exciting, is fascinating, actually. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your knowledge on this subject. Before we go to questions and answers, would you please allow me just to share a few slides, just to connect what you have, some of what you have mentioned to our platforms, to the engineering services. So that would take me just around 3 minutes. Okay, let me go quick. And we shall go back to the questions and answers. In the meantime, if anyone has any question, please do submit it through the Q&A option. Now into Portuguese. Bom, então eu espero que a apresentação tenha sido de interesse. E deixa eu tirar aqui a atração, só um instante. Então, obrigado pela participação. Sim, então eu aproveitei um slide do doutor para simplesmente apresentar as diferentes aplicações que a gente vai encontrar de inteligência artificial. São muitas aplicações, e eu gostei da parte que ele falou de a inteligência artificial não somente como uma área de pesquisa, mas sim como área de aplicação. E a gente tem muitas aplicações. Especificamente para engenharia ou para as plataformas de recuperação de informação científica, dentro da engenharia, a gente vai ter alguns pontos que vocês, no dia a dia, ou que a gente no dia a dia faz uso e não se dá conta do que está por trás da plataforma, porque a gente quer recuperar um artigo, um documento, quer identificar uma informação, um dado que vai apoiar a nossa pesquisa científica, mas muitas vezes a gente não sabe como que a plataforma, como que o motor, o que está acontecendo por trás daquela tela de acesso à recuperação da informação. Então, aqui a gente vê nessa tela umas imagens da plataforma Engineering Village. Numa busca simples de Compendix, a gente vê que tem recomendação de palavras para uso na construção da estratégia de busca, que vem de um vocabulário controlado, que é associado com as palavras-chave, com os conceitos, e, no final das contas, entregam relevância para o usuário final, para ele encontrar e recuperar de maneira fácil aquele conteúdo que ele deseja. Porque não é muito fácil simplesmente encontrar em milhões de documentos aquele que vai atender o nosso processo de pesquisa. Além disso, a inteligência artificial ela pode ajudar na extração dos dados, dos metadados que a gente tem dos documentos, como, por exemplo, números. Então, os números que estão contidos nos resumos, nos metadados dos documentos, eles podem ser capturados e podem ser convertidos, tratados, organizados para permitir uma recuperação, uma filtragem numérica por propriedade física, por exemplo, que é isso que a gente tem também na plataforma. Então, isso é a plataforma Compendix. Quando a gente entra no nível do artigo, a gente vai ter inteligência artificial, mais uma vez, fazendo uso dessa informação, facilitando o nosso trabalho, e do lado direito, no topo, a gente vai encontrar recomendações de documentos similares, porque é uma questão muito difícil para a gente, como encontrar outros documentos que falem sobre o mesmo tema, que estejam relacionados com aquele mesmo documento que a gente encontrou, classificou, identificou como muito relevante. Sim, então a plataforma faz mágica quando ela usa inteligência artificial para apresentar algumas recomendações que vão, de maneira eficaz, garantida, apoiar o nosso trabalho de revisão bibliográfica ou de pesquisa. O que a Elsevier ela faz? Ela, além de coletar os mais relevantes, as mais relevantes fontes de informação, ela extrai dessas fontes não somente o texto, mas sim tabelas, dados, gráficos, equações, pontos que vão, de alguma maneira, contribuir para a pesquisa científica e estarão disponíveis através de uma simples pesquisa específica de algum tipo de informação. Então, a gente tem uma outra plataforma, GeoFacets, que também vai permitir a recuperação específica de um mapa que contém metadados que podem ser usados no processo de recuperação. Então, não é somente o texto que é compartilhado, que é oferecido, que é indexado. A gente tem outros objetos. E, por fim, a gente tem uma outra plataforma, Novel, que, além do texto completo, vai oferecer gráficos, equações, tabelas, pontos que permitem a identificação do conteúdo que vai me atender ou vai atender no meu processo de pesquisa, de investigação. Então, agora a gente volta para o Dr. Dornenbaum, para a gente voltar... Perdão. Dornenbaum. It's...
That's quite all right. Dornenbaum is good enough.
Thanks. So now let's go into questions and answers. Let's see. I do have one. Any additional comments, Dr. Dornenbaum?
No. Well, let me just blow this up a little. No. I don't want that. I want something else. So yeah, that was a very nice question. I'm afraid I cannot answer the questions posed to me in Portuguese, but the question by Douglas de Souza I already answered. It's a very nice question where he asks what information we now extract from articles. And I think you mentioned already something, Luis, about we pull out tables, we pull out graphs. Those are components that constitute an article. But we also, and that is more of my field, extract rich information from the running text. And sometimes we also try to combine that with the structured information already present. And with rich information, I mean, not just the entities or concepts that appear in the text, but also the relations holding between them. As an example, I can give you the work that is now being done for Reaxys, the chemistry database that Elsevier has, where there is a research group of Elsevier working together with the University of Melbourne to automatically extract the synthesis chemistry reactions from patents, from articles. So not just the chemicals alone are extracted, but also the way they are synthesized and all the steps in the synthesis process, the temperatures, the heat, the solutions, the solvents, the catalysts, and all of these very complex relationships holding between chemicals are extracted in an automated way. It's a fascinating field to really have a form of language understanding by computers that can actually basically read the chemistry article for you and extract all the properties of the chemicals. And this is similar to what we try to do for engineering these days. That's why I was, I think, invited to this call, because I have been part of that project. And it is similar to efforts we have going on in health, where we also develop increasingly artificial intelligence driven solutions summarizing data that comes from health and medicine publications.
Perfect, perfect. Great to know. It's very nice to understand that computers are doing that that heavy load work in gathering, in collecting data, so that we can make use of it all. One additional question, previous question, it was in Portuguese. Would you have any recommendations on for someone who would like to begin researching in AI?
Yes, I have mentored many students in the field. Elsevier has a strong collaboration with several universities to take interns coming. So yeah, I can make recommendations. One recommendation I always would start with is that your own field is good enough to start with. And I mean this. Computer science is very dominant in artificial intelligence. So people will tell you that you have to have a solid foundation in mathematics to start. And it is true, it is a good thing to have. But I was trained as a linguist. I came into this field from linguistics, and my strong card is language understanding. And that's fine. There may be people who, and I actually have colleagues who have worked in the field of genetics research. And they have found that they need to apply artificial intelligence algorithms to find genetic patterns matching phenotype patterns. And that's just fine. From whatever your field is, you can find an inroad and an application for artificial intelligence.
Perfect. Great. Yes, it seems that AI can be applied to all subjects, all disciplines. Would you recommend any applications for civil engineering and biology?
That is a good question. Let me think about that. Well, I mean, no, I cannot. These are not my fields. I know a bit about biology, so there is a good repository of biology taxonomies, so knowledge organizations hosted by the NIH and similar institutions in the United States. Those are very good resources. But otherwise, I must refer to Elsevier platforms, I think. So for civil engineering, I think if you need to answer that question, you can basically search for people that are stronger in the field than I am.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah, we have to relate to the challenges of each specific discipline. I understand. Any comments on AI usage for material sciences?
Yes. So that is something I'm more familiar with. So I mentioned re-axis already, where you can look up material properties. Re-axis is very strong on organic chemistry, though. So if you would want to know specifics about small molecules, alloys, or smaller compounds, then perhaps novel is a better entry point where you have access to these this tabular data. Or again, Engineering Village really has a lot of automatically extracted data points related to material science. If you want to apply, if that is the question, artificial intelligence to the fields, the one publication of the author I showed earlier from Brazil, André de Carvalho, was actually a very interesting example where he would predict the quality of wood from images using artificial intelligence. Now that's a specific example, but in a similar fashion, I know that there is research into assessing the quality of any other materials using visual technologies, but also predicting the properties of molecules if you change some parameters. So that is a field called predictive chemistry, which is heavily driven by artificial intelligence. And I cannot, off the top of my head, give you the references, but it's easy to search for that. And there's strong research that I'm aware of.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. One question that does not require an answer at this moment. We should stop for now.
Luiz,
Yes.
Perdão, só um segundo, por gentileza. Antes, a gente já está dando horário e o pessoal talvez esteja programado. Eu vou lançar a nossa pesquisinha. Enquanto vocês vão conversando, eu vou deixar aí para o pessoal responder, tá bem? Prontinho, podem seguir, tá? Normalmente. Obrigada.
Thanks, Christian. I'm sorry, Doctor. So yes, we should stop for now. The question I said that should not be answered at this time is when we're going to hold the next artificial intelligence webinar. So that's to come, right? So thank you so much for joining us, Doctor. It was really useful, really interesting. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone that joined this session today. We will be providing follow-up messages with access to the recording, the certificate, and for any additional questions, please do email us. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Be safe. Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks for having me. I'm an honor.
Só comentário. Uma lembrança, na realidade, porque o professor, o doutor, falou da Engineering Village. Só uma lembrança que toda a audiência que hoje estive participando, que é do Brasil e que tem acesso via o portal CAPES, tem acesso a Engineering Village e pode ter acesso a essas tendências de mercado, tem acesso a mais de 27 milhões de registros com toda a gráfica analítica para acessar a colaboração, para acessar a tendência y todo. Cualquier otra duda que tengan, pueden nos contactar, enviar un email y las respuestas que no fueron respondidas en esta sesión enviaremos después do evento. Obrigada a todos, obrigada Luiz pela organização do evento.
Tchau, uma boa tarde a todos. Não sei se tem alguém ainda respondendo a enquete, eu vou dar mais um minutinho antes de encerrar.
Muito obrigado, meninas. Muito obrigado, Mariela. Muito obrigado, Cristiane.